Hi, my name is Elisa Boughner, and this is an encaustic painting. It's a painting that is made with wax on wood, and it is 11 by 14. And this is my studio gallery space, and if you ever want to come visit me, you are welcome. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Michael Everson. I want to talk about this painting I created called City by the Seaside at Twilight. It's a 28 by 48 inch canvas done with acrylic paint, oil paint, and marker pen. So I did what would be in the middle area, all these colorful details that represent the buildings. And after I did that, it didn't have quite the mood I was hoping for. So I covered the whole canvas with masking tape. And then I cut out just certain areas of the masking tape and peeled it off. I put a light layer of black acrylic paint on there. Then I cut out more areas of the masking tape and peeled those off and did another thin layer of black acrylic paint. So it was building up these thin layers of black acrylic paint, getting certain areas darker and darker and some areas lighter and lighter. So the overall effect ended up being what I was looking for, which was like a dusk or a twilight scene with the city right on the water, just sparkling down in the water area, sparkling up in the sky with lights and stars. And then it ended up having, like I say, just the mood I was hoping for. City by the seaside at twilight.
Hi, my name is Roberto Ferreyra. I'm an artist originally from Mexico, living now in Chicago, or sharing my time now between Mexico and Chicago. In Mexico, I have my own studio. I'm working there in the winter, and in summer I come back to Chicago to work in my studio too. Let me introduce my piece. This is a print. It's a linoleum print. I did it in my print shop here, and I usually used to do work in the linoleum. Even when I used to do prints in metal, zinc, copper, or even acrylic or polycarbonate. This is the image is a different snails and shells, no? Because for me, the shell in this case, I'm just taking the snail like a pretext to show other people the importance of the infinitum. In the shell, we can see the infinitum reflected in everywhere, even in the cosmic galaxia. The infinitum or the spiral is everywhere. In the plants, even in the water show us the way of the spiral. I hope you enjoy the artwork, you enjoy the exhibition for all these artists, and thank you, Inspiration, for this invitation. Thank you of all. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Tammy Haman, and I'm an encaustic mixed media artist. Encaustic is a very old art form, and it begins with beeswax and damar resin mixed together to create an encaustic medium. You then melt that medium, and you can paint it on with paintbrushes, and you can add pigment to it to get a colored wax. Or the mixed media portion that I like to do. You can start with a watercolor underpainting, add wax on top of it. You can start with wax and add inks, shellac burn, pan pastel, oil paints, or oil sticks to it. The process is really what makes it very fun. I enjoy working this way, and I'm glad I am able to share my work with you. And I hope you enjoy one inspired evening.
Hi, I'm Liz Martino, and I'm one of the artists tonight at the One Inspired Evening Auction 2022. And I would like to say that I'm an Evanston artist. I'm here in my studio right now in Evanston. I'm also part of Evanston Made, which is an artisan group that supports about 400 artists, so I'm proud to be part of that. And before that, I sold a lot of paintings in Chicago. And I'm going to just show you tonight my painting that is in this night's event. It's called Happy Melon. And it's an acrylic. It's 24 by 36. And you're probably wondering how I got the name Happy Melon, but I'm going to explain that in just a minute. The little piece that's above the painting is actually a kind of a paper watercolor study that I did maybe 15 years ago. And it was just like colors I wanted to put together. I just thought it looked really nice together, and I was very happy. So, and then the cousin to this painting is Bitter Melon. So Bitter Melon is kind of, I did this one first. Bitter Melon has a kind of a funny story behind it. It's Bitter Melon is actually, it's actually an Asian kind of like a cucumber that people use in cooking. And I used to work at a garden center, and we used to get a lot of calls for bitter melon, and it's just fun to say bitter melon all the time. So that's how that came about. And this just looked like Happy Melon to me. So that's how the name came about. That's how the paintings came about. And I got started with Inspiration Corporation probably in 2007 when somebody, he's an artist and a photographer, and he was part of Inspiration Corporation himself. And he bought 3 paintings of mine at a place called Unicorn Cafe, which is no longer in Evanston. But he suggested I become part of this, cause, and I really appreciated that, and I've done it ever since, as much as I can. Every year that I can do it, I try to do it. And the people at Inspiration Corporation that put on these events are wonderful people. They always have a gala event. It's always in a beautiful venue with really good food, and it's always well attended. And every year I've sold my painting here, and I'm always proud to do that. And I hope you enjoy your evening. I hope you enjoy the art, and keep donating to this cause, because it's a really good one. So have a great night, and we'll see you around. Bye.
Hi, I'm Val McCune. I created the piece Blue Turns, and a little bit about myself, which I love to talk about, is I am an artist. Who isn't, right? I'm a creative coach, and I'm a teacher. So I started my artistic journey probably in utero, always observing, being creative, painting on walls. My mother let me do whatever I wanted in the house creatively, so that was great. And I started a decorative or a faux painting business, maybe because I was allowed to paint on walls as a kid. And I started for 25 years. I did murals, and I did plastering and faux finishing and decorative painting. And then I realized I was getting a little too old to be on 3 tiers of scaffolding. So the wall was always my canvas. I had smaller canvases when I came home to work on, and I realized I needed to get down off the ladder. So my mother was in a nursing home, and I started doing some classes at her nursing home, and it turned into kind of a thing. I taught marginalized communities as well. So I taught memory care in nursing homes, and I taught disabled adults, which I continue to do. And I also teach after school programs. And And I also do something fun that's called a sip and paint party, where people drink and paint, and I talk you through it. That's my creative coach part. So my inspiration really comes from a deep place in my brain where I just get into this zone of needing to go into my studio and start creating. The biggest thing to me is just bringing out a canvas, a nice white canvas. I stare blankly at it. It stares back at me, and away I go. I start with maybe an idea, and sometimes it turns out that way and sometimes it doesn't. But I'm using things sometimes from the painting I used to do on walls, so I can pick up some plaster, or I find magazines or papers or things I have found maybe on the side of the road. I'm one of those people. I do stop for garbage once in a while, and I start creating. So it could start with gluing, spray painting. Like I said, I just get into like a zone. My other inspiration is Lisa Nigro. I've been friends with her my whole life. We went to elementary school together. So when I know one inspired evening is coming, it always gets me going. So this piece was created this year, and I started with, I have a picture of it, a copy of it. So I started thinking about a figure, and then it turned into something else. I started to turn it in a different direction and ended up with this final piece of abstraction. And there are arbitrary as well as personal pieces in here for me. I love that palette of the blue. I love the energy that's created. I love watching people have to look a little bit closely at maybe some of the layering that I have been doing, that I did on this painting. And it comes from a place of love and creativity. And so I hope you enjoy it, and thank you for listening.
Hi, I'm Mary Kay McMahon, and I've donated the watercolor, The English Garden Gate, to the Inspiration Corporation's auction tonight. My education probably started in grade school, but I do have my undergraduate degree from the Art Institute in Chicago. And then after that, I've studied with many local artists, professional artists. Most of my work is done in watercolor or recycled paper collage. My style, I would say, is designed reality. I'll take a location or an object and manipulate it to where I think it's more dynamic, exciting, whimsical, and colorful. The location of this inspiration for the English Garden Gate is at the Chicago Botanic Garden. I like their gate. I've painted it before. It's a favorite place of mine. In this case, I used both my methods, both collage and watercolor painting. I used collage, recycled magazine papers, to design the piece, and picked out colors that I liked, manipulated the shapes, and glued it, accented with black marker calligraphy. I then worked it out in watercolor to find correlating colors, and then worked it up in the piece that you see tonight. Most of my proceeds are donated to food and housing charities. I hope you enjoy looking at the piece. Hope you'll bid on it, and maybe see other pieces at my website, marykmcmahon-art.com. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and thank you for viewing my video.
Hello, my name is Mark Nelson. I'm an interdisciplinary artist. I paint, I printmake, I create sculptural forms, and I use digital media. My Gringolandia studio is located in the community of Pilsen within the city of Chicago on 21st Street. This year, I have donated a watercolor all about that base that was created with many other watercolors I did watching live jazz performances at the Jazz Arts Record Collective on Hubbard. Should you have more interest in my work, you can find examples at www.gringolandiastudio.com. I hope you enjoy the evening and appreciate all the artists that have donated work for the worthy cause of the Inspiration Corporation. Thank you very much.
Once the second layer is on. So as I work, deconstructing and reconstructing becomes part of the process. We might go into a painting with a specific idea and a specific intention, and yet I realize fairly quickly that I have to make adjustments, that I have to let go, and if I get too stuck on an outcome, then it gets in the way of progress. And so I think in life, we want things to be predictable. It's hard to think that what we know might have to be challenged or altered. And that can be pretty scary at times. In the art room where I work as an art therapist, I have a bumper sticker hanging up that says, "Art saves lives." And it's 3 simple words, but it really says so much. My name is Karen Parisian. I'm an artist and an art therapist.
My name is Jane Sloss, and I am an architect and watercolor painter living in Chicago. I learned to paint as an architecture student living in Rome, and after graduating from college, wanted to continue to have a creative practice. So I dabbled in a few media, ceramics, and oil painting, but it was around the time that I moved to Chicago that I saw an exhibit of Winslow Homer paintings at the Art Institute, and I was just blown away by his watercolor painting. So I decided at that time to dedicate myself to the medium of watercolor and see how far I could push my skills in that area. As an architect, I particularly enjoy depicting the built environment and capturing places that are meaningful to people. I love it when the work that I do inspires people to tell me their stories about the places that I've depicted. I've been donating to One Inspired Evening for 13 years, since I started volunteering each Wednesday as a breakfast server at the cafe. And for the last 4 years, I have depicted scenes of Uptown, near to where the cafe is located. This year, my piece depicts the Green Mill, a place that is full of nostalgia and many, many stories. I am so delighted to have the opportunity to continue to contribute to One Inspired Evening, and to support the work that Inspiration Corporation does in a small way.
Hi, my name is Jenny Steinman Heyden, and I'm a professional artist. I have been since 1995. I did one of the original Cows on Parade cows in Chicago. You may have sat on mine. It was right on Michigan Avenue in front of Nike Town. And my process, I was going to tell you about today in doing artwork, such as the piece that is in the Inspiration Corporation auction called Vase of Friends. The inspiration for that piece is celebrating a time when we can all come back together, but also not really knowing how we're going to behave in groups. It seems to be a challenge for me. I don't know. And so sort of a funny way of approaching that as putting everybody in a vase all of a sudden. What I like to do is everything I do starts with a line drawing. It's not a painter's sort of process. It's more of a line drawer. And so I start with a Sharpie or some other kind of permanent marker that I've proven will not fade and is UV protected. And then I draw on the blank canvas, and then I paint in acrylics. Then I coat with a glue and water based varnish, and then I varnish with a gloss varnish so that everything is set for you and will last for years and years and years and years and years. This is an example. I also do Lazy Susans, so I'm simulating a spin right now. And so I do the lines, and then I paint it in, and then I varnish, and then everyone celebrates. So I'm just really grateful for you to be at the Inspiration Corporation auction, because they have a great mission. I try to donate every year that they have this. I'm super excited to see it again. I may or may not be there because I personally have to chaperone prom, but we'll see how that goes. I may be evicted from that for behavior problems, but I really, really believe in Inspiration Corporation, and I couldn't thank you more for being where you are right now. Thank you.
I'm John Terdich, and I've been donating to the Inspiration Cafe auctions since the very beginning, missing only a few of them. The piece in this auction is from the Pounce Pattern series. And what I mean by that, this is a series of works where I take drawings that I make on paper and perforate them. Then the images are transferred to another piece of paper with charcoal or powdered pigment. The final design is composed of multiple layerings of images. In this particular case, O Fortuna, the images I have to do with the game of chance.
My site-specific series is an extension of my urban photography, combining photographic images with objects recovered from the site in mixed media collages. I enjoy recycling and transforming common found objects through a nuanced layering of mediums, colors, and textures. Among the sites are condemned buildings slated for the wrecking ball, decaying facades, rundown factories, and graffiti-strewn walls. While I have created pieces from other locales, Chicago has yielded a rich and endless array of urban decay and site relics. In more global terms, this work is about excavating and recycling an ephemeral landscape and preserving it. 90% of the sites I have documented disappeared within weeks or months. I have been followed or watched and even asked to vacate the premises. This is all part of the experience that I take back with me to the studio when creating these mixed media collages.
Hi, I'm Kai Wolfman, and welcome to my studio. I make paintings on themes like community, connection, and hope. I'm passionate about color and creating worlds with heightened vibrancy and a general sense of being grounded and at peace. I'm inspired by my surroundings living in Chicago and near the Forest Preserve, and from finding small bits of magic in everyday life. I use motifs like cityscapes, light strings, roots, and trees that all add layers of meaning. A main focus of my creative practice is the process that I've developed over the years. I build up thin layers of watercolor and acrylic paint to create layers of color and texture on either paper or canvas. I will often cut and tear my paintings and stitch them together with a sewing machine, and then add hand-embroidered details. There is no fabric in my work, but this process is inspired by crazy quilting and the symbolic idea that something beautiful and new can come from the scraps. I absolutely love this process of creating and hope it comes through in all of my work.